In the ancient world, described by the Classic mountains and seas, rivers were never just bodies of water. They were living, breathing paths, shifting not with the seasons, but with the weight of memory and myth. This is the tale of one such river, the river of shifting echoes, a vast, serpentine waterway that was said to carve a new course through the land with every rising sun. Our hero arrived at its banks as dawn broke, the mists clinging to the reeds like ancient secrets. The air was thick with a strange energy, a low hum that seemed to vibrate from the very earth beneath his feet. He could feel it, a current within the current, carrying more than just silt and stone. It carried whispers, fragments of forgotten conversations, sighs of longing, and the faint echoes of laughter from ages past. He knelt by the water's edge, its surface a placid, silver mirror under the pale morning light. But the reflection staring back wasn't just his own. Something was wrong. As he gazed into the depths, the water shimmered, and the image distorted. He saw not his weary, travel-stained face, but scenes that flickered like a dying flame. A glimpse of a mountain he had yet to climb. A clash with a beast he had never met. A hand reaching out to him from the shadows of an unfamiliar cave. These were not memories. They were prophecies, reflections of events that had not yet come to pass. The river was showing him the future. A gnarled hand suddenly gripped his shoulder. He spun around to see an old fisherman, his face a roadmap of wrinkles, his eyes as deep and murky as the river itself. "Be wary, traveler," the old man rasped, his voice like stones grinding together. "She sees all the past, the future. It's all the same to her. The river remembers what mortals are desperate to forget and shows what they aren't ready to see." The fisherman pointed a trembling finger at the water. "Many have been lost to her visions, chasing promises or running from fears. Don't let her currents pull you in." The warning hung in the air, heavy and chilling. Could he trust these fleeting, impossible visions? Or was this a trap, a siren's call disguised as guidance? The hero's heart pounded. The path forward was uncertain, and the river's whispers were growing louder. Mohainshi Stento, he made his choice. He would not cross. Not yet. Instead, he would follow the river's course, walking its banks to understand its nature. The journey was an immediate descent into a world woven from memory. The air grew thick with the calls of echo birds, their feathers shimmering with prismatic light. They didn't sing their own songs. Instead, they repeated fragments of conversations they'd overheard through the centuries. A lover's promise from a forgotten dynasty, a king's final command before a lost battle, a child's lullaby sung in a language no longer spoken. The sounds were haunting, pulling at the threads of his own past, tempting him to listen, to lose himself in the chorus of what was. He pressed on, pushing through the cacophony, only to find the path shrouded in a sudden, dense fog. From the mists, serpentine forms began to coalesce. Mist serpents, born from the river's sorrow. They didn't bite or constrict with physical force. Instead, they coiled around his mind, their ethereal bodies feeding on regret. Images flooded his thoughts. A harsh word he could never take back. A friend he'd left behind. A choice made in haste that had rippled through his life with unintended consequences. The weight of his past, mistakes pressed down on him, urging him to stop, to wallow in his failures. The river itself seemed to conspire with these creatures. Its surface churned, and this time, the visions it showed were his own. He saw his childhood home, the warm glow of the hearth, his mother's smiling face. He saw the day he left, the promise he made to return. The vision was so real, so tangible. He could almost smell the wood smoke and feel the warmth of her embrace. It was a powerful lure, a temptation to simply step into the water and be with them again, to abandon this arduous quest and return to the comfort of a memory. He had to fight to remember the fisherman's warning. This was an illusion, a beautiful, heartbreaking lie designed to drown him in nostalgia. With a cry of effort, he tore his gaze away, his resolve hardening like steel. He would not be Another soul lost to the river's depths. He had resisted the phantoms of regret and the ghosts of his past. He had walked the river's edge and learned its tricks. Now he stood once more at a crossing point, ready to face it. As if sensing his determination, the river began to churn violently. The water level rose at an alarming rate, a flash flood surging from upstream. The current roared, and from the turbulent depths, a colossal head emerged, followed by a shell so vast it seemed like a moving island. Ancient, esoteric inscriptions covered its surface, glowing with a soft, internal light. It was the guardian of the river, a turtle as old as the mountains themselves. Its voice was not a sound, but a feeling, a deep resonance that vibrated in the hero's very bones. You have seen my waters. You have felt their pull. You know that, to move forward, something must be left behind. The guardian's ancient eyes, full of geologic patience, fixed upon him. The river demands a toll, a memory. To cross, you must surrender what you cling to most. Give me a piece of yourself, and I will grant you passage. The hero's mind raced. His memories were all he had. His purpose, his family, his failures, they defined him. How could he give one up? He thought of his home, the memory he had just fought so hard to resist. It was his anchor, but it was also his chain. It was the thing that pulled him backward, the source of his deepest longing. With a heavy heart and a tear tracing a path through the grime on his cheek, he focused on that memory. He pictured his family, the warmth of their love, and then, with a final, silent farewell, he let it go. He offered it to the river. As the memory dissolved from his mind, a profound emptiness washed over him, quickly followed by a strange, unburdened lightness. The colossal turtle gave a slow, deribere tonatu. The raging floodwaters instantly receded, the torrent calming to a gentle flow. The river, once a barrier, now parted before him, revealing a hidden stone path on the riverbed, leading to the opposite bank and deeper into the mythic lands beyond. The guardian submerged, its inscribed shell disappearing into the quieted depths, leaving only ripples in its wake. The hero stepped onto the stone path, each footstep echoing in the sudden silence. He had crossed. He had paid the price. He felt different, hollowed out, but also stronger, more focused. The past was no longer a weight he had to carry. He reached the far side and looked back one last time. The river flowed on, impassive and eternal. He turned his face forward to the unknown lands that awaited him. Every step forward demands a letting go. The river flows, and so must we. As he took his first step into the new territory, a faint, rhythmic sound reached him from the distance. The deep, resonant pulse of drums, hinting at the next trial, the next chapter of his journey into the heart of myth.